All right, folks, Jason on the Primal Outdoors channel, and today I am with Phil down to Mob. And a couple of years ago, I don't know, it's probably longer than that, you did a walkthrough of my van and put it on your channel, and now it's my turn to do a walkthrough of the Mobzilla
Yes,
that we
sir.
have behind you that Phil
Same difference.
Phil has been building, and I actually had been checking this out. I watched all his videos on this because I'm super interested in this build, because I would like to at some point build something a little bit bigger, a little bit more comfortable, and I really like the idea of the composite box.
Yeah.
So anyways, tell us a little bit about this build, Phil.
Yeah.
Phil.
Well, build Phil, right? Yeah, what's up, everyone? Super stoked to be doing a walkthrough on the Mobzilla, like Jason said. We call it that because it's got the 7.3 liter Godzilla gas motor under it, which a lot of people assume it's diesel because it is a huge truck. But it's got everything that Buckstop Truckwear makes, including the big Buckstop bumper. That's the claim to fame, of course. Warren 16.5 TI winch. One really cool thing they did was, and this was the first time they did a Ford Eruption green powder coat. On the bottom of the bumper here, they did the wheels, radius arms, a few different parts there. So actually, Factor 55 was kind enough to send me the Ultra Hook and the Hitch Link raw. We got those powder coated Ford Eruption green, sent them back, and got all the goody little laser engraves on there. So I like that a lot. That's cool. Baja Designs LP9s and XLRs and Squadron Pros in the bumper. Yeah, that's enough. I need, plenty of lighting for me, and it's not too obnoxious. It might be cool to have some lights up there, but yeah, like I said, plenty of lighting for now. So it's got you can see the big old Bison Overland camper, and we'll show you the inside of that. But before we get too far, check out this suspension. So this is the E-Click Wildland suspension that Buckstop offers. It's actively valved, so all of these shocks are connected to an ECU. So essentially, while you're driving, whether on-road or off-road, it's helping you out. If you slam the brakes, it's gonna stiffen the front shocks so you don't lurch forward as much. Even if wind hits one side of the camper, it's gonna stiffen the other side so you don't get bucked around as much. It's really cool, and it just works really well. It's also really simple. If all that were to fail, you just have regular shocks. So I wanted to build this truck to go in the middle of nowhere and alone, because I was on the road full time for almost 7 years, and yeah, sometimes stuff breaks and you find yourself needing to limp out or something, and there's really nothing that can go too wrong on this truck, we like to think. But anyways, yeah, I got the Bowen Customs flatbed, and so this truck came as a cab chassis and with nothing back here. So the Bowen Customs bed looks really cool. It's got the storage boxes, but it's also got a zero torsion system. So it's mounted on 3 points, and basically that allows it to flex independent from the truck. And as you all know, I'm sure truck frames flex, especially when they're really long like this. So yeah, that's nice. It kind of makes it a smoother ride for the camper. And then we went a step further. My buddy Kevin Nichols Auto Fab. This is the second rendition of a slide out deck and stairs, and I really wanted a few things with this. I wanted the stairs to come to the side so that they're not sticking all the way out here, and it allows you to if you have the support of the camper here, so it's not too dangerous, because it is really high up there. The floor is up to here. And then another thing we did was we added this quick step, so when all this is packed away, you can fold this down to get up and in there. Because when you actually go and use these things and you go to the grocery store, you might not have space to set this up, or you just don't want to, because it takes a minute. So the quick step for quick overnights is awesome. And then yeah, hatches here. This is empty. This will actually have the spare tire that will slide out and lower down with a Warren winch, because they're really heavy. So yeah, before we go in, I'll show you this too, the McLean Metalworks hammock mount. I've had these on all the rigs I've owned, and just super comfy to have a hammock. And you don't always have trees in the perfect spot. So yeah, pretty pumped with that. Got Got storage here for whatever. This is just kind of random storage. You got like the moon awnings in there, and I don't have all the systems in the truck yet, which you'll see. So this will hold like almost 10 gallons of water, which is pretty neat. And yeah, that's kind of main stuff. Just other outdoor storage, and got an Extreme Outback Magnum compressor that's bolted up under the flatbed. So just try to make use of every little space that we can.
It's a nice build. I like the detail, like you thought about on the steps, about having being able to walk up, being able to use the truck itself as support. So if you need something to kind of lean on or support yourself as you're going up, because you are walking up, up to a high spot there. I like the fact that it does pop out and that it can slide back in, gives you a little platform there. But I also like the idea of having the extra steps so you don't have to mess with all that when you're just stopping at the grocery store and doing something real quick. That's nice.
Right.
The other thing that I really appreciate, like said, I do appreciate the 7.3 Godzilla motor. I really understand that is a very reliable, simple motor as far as motors go these days. It's not super complicated, and I think that's great for rigs that are going to be doing a lot of off-road, and especially if you want to plan to do anything overseas. I understand that could be complicated, especially if you buy a diesel here in the U.S., that there's a lot of complications with diesel motors afar. So having the 7.3 gives you a lot of options. The thing that's super cool is that Wildland's suspension. That's rad. I really, the explanation you gave on that, I didn't really realize what all it was capable of doing until you kind of explained all that. Yeah. The ability for it to detect movement in the truck. Driving my van, it's got good suspension. I've got Fox shocks, all that good stuff, but it's not actively knowing what the van is doing. It's just working like regular shocks. So being able to hit the brakes and have it be able to kind of help you there. But the big thing for me in a big rig like this is sway. Yeah. So having it be able to actively control that, it would be a huge benefit. I can tell you that.
Yeah, it's amazing. And even off-road, if you're going up a steep incline, it'll stiffen the rear shocks more, so you're not lurching back, and it works. Let me tell you, I've had this thing in not huge dunes, but very deep sand and dunes, and kind of carving the side of the hills, and I've had it in snow, like going sideways doing donuts, and it's amazing how it does not feel top heavy, even though it is 11 foot 4 inches tall. But the truck is just under 10,000 pounds. The camper is only 2,100 pounds.
Oh, that's light.
Yeah, so you do the math, like the center of gravity is still incredibly low. And the 7.3 is a great motor. The pushrod V8, I'm not a motor whiz, but I know enough to know it's a classic design that they brought back. And a lot of people might want to know too, it does get like 7-8 miles per gallon. I'm not trying to get good gas mileage, so I'll say that too. But it's cheaper upfront cost. The fuel's cheaper. The maintenance cost is cheaper. So it's a win for me. I would definitely still go with, and it's lighter up front.
Right, and that's a big deal because you add that weight of the diesel engine. You're just doing a lot of off-road stuff like you're going to do. You're just going to wear out front-end components a lot faster having a lot of extra weight. Exactly. So, I mean, it is important. And just kind of point out, my van only gets like 8-9 miles per gallon too when I'm out doing stuff. But you have a much more space. You so much more living space. And, I'm really excited to kind of get into this box now a little bit more and talk about it, because the composite box, I think, is the way to go.
Yeah, it's cool because everything is insulation on it. So it's extremely well insulated. It's very light, and it's very simple. It's really just all glued together with some really high strength glues. And I love it
a lot of technology we don't understand.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, just to make the panels is a whole process, and then they are all CNC cuts. So like all the windows and the door and all the holes they're already there. So you literally just glue them in. It couldn't be easier. Yeah, the torque lift glow steps too. You guys have probably seen those. Really common stair option on the market. And then you enter in, you'll notice the Nature's Head compost toilet. And this is gonna be a wet bath. It's not fully plumbed yet for a shower, but the cool thing is all I need to do is add, of course, the hot water coming out and a drain. And this is all the same as the outside, so it's all waterproof already. And of course, a shower door will go here.
Nice.
Yeah, we're getting the Fugatti water heater in here. Jason was telling me how he likes his, and
Love mine. Love mine. So right now you're still kind of in the process, just so my viewers know, you're still in the process of kind of building this out.
Yeah.
You know, you got the camper, you've got a few things going on in here, but there's still a lot of work to be done.
Absolutely. Thank you for bringing that up too. Yeah, basically all of the systems are just temporary, so my wife and I could live out of it for a few months. And so yeah, I'm still got to do a whole battery setup, solar, there's going to be a full-size fridge here, which is one reason this area is a mess right now. Just got the power station and the Dometic 45-liter fridge that I had. I just already had this stuff from the Jeep and living on the road, like I said, almost 7 years. And so anyways, I just threw stuff in. This table is also temporary. It just needs to be a little bigger so I can pull these pads in and make into the bed, kind of cover those areas. But yeah, I'm really happy with this dinette. We call it the Sky Lounge because you're just way up here. It's like 10 feet up, being here. So you get this great view. A lot of expo. I just hung out up here and kind of waved and was like, hey, welcome people in. But these are Pariah Fabrication dual pane glass windows. So I love them. They're a little bit heavier than a dual pane acrylic, but everything else is just so worth it on them. The blackout shades, the bug screens, and then they go 90 degrees out. So they're not blocking your view. You can really still get that full open air. And we got 3 of them around this thing. So they're 59 inches wide. And yeah, we're like, you camp next to beautiful lakes and rivers and all these beautiful things, and the idea is to be outside, but when you're inside, you still get that connection to the outside. So yeah, I love it. And you can fit like 8 people around here, and although it's primarily me and my wife and our dog traveling, I still do like to have a social space where people can hang out. So yeah, I got pictures of my wife and I up here. These are actually like just from our wedding, and I was like, oh, they fit perfect and match great right there. So still adding personal touches too.
Nice.
And yeah, on the note of temporary, got this. You've probably never seen this.
Yeah.
The green Coleman stove, which I do not recommend using inside a vehicle if you read the fine print. Viewer discretion is advised. But yeah, I'll have an induction cooktop here. Bamboo countertop. Went with the gold theme just because it seemed cool, and I like it a lot. So still need to plumb this in, but 55-gallon water tank underneath. I'm going to lose a little bit of this when we put induction cooktops in, but until then, we got the Step 22 Stingray bags, which I've always found a use for in my builds. Adam was kind enough to laser engrave some of these tags for me at Expo a few years ago, but you can just write on them. But yeah, we didn't plan that. They fit perfectly there. So yeah, we went over that stuff. This is like a little step to get up in there, and you'll notice this is all green. It's not just any green though, it's Ford Eruption green to match the outside. So this entire interior was done by Jacob from RadFab on the computer. Spent a few months going back and forth, and that was my doing. I'm like, wait, make this a little 2 inches taller and come further out. And it's kind of hard to know what you want with all this space, especially when I've had such little space in the past. But got the RC crawler up there, 1987 Toyota Extra Cab, Suzuki Jimny. I love the RC crawlers. You just find yourself next to some really good rocks camping.
So what we got? So up here we got the bed.
Yeah. Queen size bed. It could fit a king without side storage, but it's plenty big. Again, 4 Pariah Fab windows all the way around, so even when you're up in the bed, a lot of airflow, a lot of light coming in. Those are all blacked out right now for privacy.
Right.
And max fan there. I did talk to Will from Valit about the 48 volt air conditioner he's coming out with, which is cool because it has a fan built into it. And I was going to put another max fan back here so I could get airflow without having a window open. But now, if I get that thing in here, I won't need another max fan. So yeah, it's a cool thing and 48 volt is still pretty new. There's a lot of new stuff coming out. So I'm glad I didn't rush the systems. But I got some work to do for sure when I get back home to Virginia now, which never thought.
So that brings up another thing. So you're planning on a 48 volt battery system.
Yeah.
So I've had an opportunity to be in a vehicle that has a 48 volt that charges so fast. Yeah. It charges so fast, and yeah, I'm kind of envious of that for sure. I love this. I love the space and how big it is, and how much options that you have to build it out the way that you want. And like, you customize this with Bison Campers. Like, you talk to them, and like, this is your custom build. Like, and he can do. If I came there with my own vision, like, he could build that too. So
very good point, Drew from Bison. Got some of the stickers here. Actually, you want a sticker?
Yeah, need a Bison Camper sticker.
Go, dude.
Bison Camper sticker. Yeah. Plug for that. But that's a big thing, because everybody, we all know, we all have our own ideas of what, like, the best way to live is.
Yeah.
And how our setups are. And so I think it's always nice to have some options when you're looking at something like this. Like, I can see what Phil's done here, but I can also come in here myself and be like, okay, yeah, I know what I got some ideas of how I would do this and do that. And it's nice to be able to have that flexibility.
Yeah, and Drew, you know, he started the company because he has been camping all his life with his family. So he's passionate about there's no right or wrong way to use a camper. And to your point, he could literally do the roof. This is a pretty tall roof. Most people don't need it.
So I'm 6'4", and I have, like, what, good 3 inches?
Yeah,
here?
I think it's 6'8".
Yeah, so I love that, because in my van, even with my high top, I have to kind of slouch a little bit. But I mean, I walk around through here, and like, I've got lots of headroom, and man, that makes a big deal, especially when you're a tall person.
Yeah.
You know, that's something you really think about a lot, is like just being able to stand up and stretch out. That's huge.
Yeah, and he can make it 2 inches smaller, 2 inches wider. A lot of people want to do like a garage up front. He can literally build that into the composite box. The other thing I'll say about that, it's kind of a mud room, which is neat. I like it a lot. But if you don't like that, you don't have to do it. You could put this same composite like shower over here. The rear dinette, the reason it's so high, it's raised up to fit the spare tire underneath.
Right. So you have garage space. Yeah, you can totally change that up as well. Yeah, anyways, no, I think this is a cool build. I look forward to seeing how you finish it out and getting some of the other systems in. So I wish you weren't going all the way to Virginia, you know, like I feel like, when am I going to see this thing again?
I know, man, and it's wild where life takes you. My wife and I met on the road in Arizona a few years ago, and you know, the East Coast doesn't have as much public land, so it's been an adjustment living out there, but I love it. I love the people out there are great, just like most places in the world. And the white oak trees, and we got a dirt bike track in the backyard, and I got a garage so I can build this thing out, as you know.
Right, that's a huge deal. Having a place to work on a project like this is nice. Yeah, I like that, really having in my shop.
Yeah.
So. Well, anyways, guys, this build's pretty rad, and I'm sure you're going to have a ton more videos on the build and things going on, the systems you're going to be putting in. So if this build interests you and you want to see it to completion, definitely go check out Phil's channel, Down to Mob.
Another sticker plug.
Another sticker plug. I have so much. Actually, I need a new sticker, because I had a Down to Mob sticker on my water bottle forever, and I don't have that water bottle anymore. So I've got a new Down to Mob sticker to put on my new water bottle.
Yes, dude.
All right, dude.
Thank you for doing the walkthrough, and yeah, it's been really awesome on a personal note, catching up with you and hearing just so many tips. You've got a wealth of knowledge about the YouTube stuff, and we all have our own styles. And anyways, it's just been so great. And yeah, I wish I wasn't so far away so we could hang out more, but I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. And yeah, make sure to go follow Down to Mob Overland on YouTube and see the rest of the build.
Well, finish this out.
All right.
Finish this out.
Oh, you know. All right, you know. So Jason's clearly down to mob. You guys have seen. You've been following him probably for a while now. And really, the only question is, are you down to mob?
All right, folks. If you like this video, give it a like. Comments down below. And like Phil said, are you down to mob?
Yeah. See you guys.